Right, so we want you to start becoming very familiar with this formula. I want you to be comfortable with it, so you need to make sure you understand what role each letter plays. Remember, X stays in your formula. This is the same thing as Y. So it's the A, the H, and the K that we would need to know if we were to graph this function. So keep in mind that if your A value, the number out front, is negative, that means that your graph is going to be upside down. If that A value is more than 1, like if it's a 2, a 3, a 4, and so on, that's going to make your U get skinnier, and that's called stretching. If your A is a fraction, like a half, a third, a fourth, anything less than 1, it's going to make your U get wider, and from a vertical standpoint, that's going to shrink all your heights. All right. Whatever's here for H, that's how far you move sideways. So your H, guys, what controls your sideways movement when you go to graph. And remember, minus means, and you want to change this, this should say right, and plus means left. So those should be flipped. Make sure that you flip those. And then your K value, that is how much you move up or down when you go to graph. So if it's positive, you move up, and if it's negative, you move down. So for example, if this said +4, you would move up 4, and if it said -4, you move down 4. So those are just all the rules that we really need to memorize if we are to do the next section in our notes. So you have to kind of know what's going on with your graph. Even if you're not actually graphing it, you need to know what's going on with it. So here's an example of what I'm talking about. I have a function written here for you, and I want you to answer all these questions about the graph without actually having to graph it. All right, so we're going to start by getting the vertex, which is the most important part of any quadratic equation. You may want to write down that vertex is really finding H and K. You use those letters for vertex. That's going to come from your shifting. So this would mean to move to the right, and this means up. So if I go right 1 and up 4, I will be sitting at 1, 4. So my vertex is located at 1, 4. That means the H value of my vertex is 1 and the K value is 4. We're going to use that H and that K value to answer our following questions. Now part B says specify if it's a min or a max. So in this case, it's going to be a max because this means that it's a frowny face. So if you have an upside down line or upside down curve, you're going to have a highest point. That is a max. Then it asks for the actual max or min value. So again, your vertex is always your highest or lowest point. So if this is your vertex, you have to decide which one of these pertains to height, and that would be the 4. Right, the second number is technically a y value, and y's measure height. So 4 is going to be the highest that this graph goes. And then your axis of symmetry, that's going to be this dashed line right down through the middle. You have to write the equation of that line. And vertical lines use x's. So you would write x equals, and it's going to pass through 1 on the x-axis because it always goes straight through the middle. That is going to be your h value. So when they ask for max or min value, they want k. And when they ask you to write the axis symmetry, you're going to write x equals, and then you're just going to fill in whatever your h value is. So we're going to go ahead and do that 7 times, and I'm hopefully by the last time you do it, it's clicking a little bit. All right, number 2, if you were to graph this, you would have to go right 3 and up 1. That would put you at 3, 1. So that's going to be your vertex. Your h value is 3, and your k value is 1. Now this graph is going to be a smiley face. Smiley faces have lowest points, so that's called a minimum. Now your minimum value is going to be your k value, and you can see it says k is 1. Now that should make sense because if you were to graph it and go over 3 up 1, and it's going to be smiling, you can see that 1 is as high as this goes. So whatever you're moving up or down, that is your min or max point. And then your axis of symmetry is going to look like this. So we write x equals, and it's going to go through 3 because that is the dead center of your u. So a rule of thumb, if you're using an x over here, then you should be using an x value. And of these two numbers, 3 and 1, 3 is considered an x value. So you should be using the 3 for that. Okay, we'll keep going here. So number 3, that +1 means go left, and then we go down 2. That will put you at -1, -2, and that's your vertex. Now there's no negative out front, so this graph is going to be a smiley face, which means my vertex is a minimum. And the lowest that this guy goes is going to be -2. And your axis symmetry is going to go straight down through your h value, which is -1. Now number 4 looks different to you, but same idea. There's no parentheses, so when you go to graph this, you wouldn't move sideways at all. You would just simply go up 3. 1, 2, 3. And it's going to be a frowny face. All right, so your vertex is at 0, 3. Because it's a frowny face, you can see that vertex is a highest point. It's a maximum point. And the maximum height is that k value of 3. And my axis symmetry is going to be x equals, and then wherever it cuts through the parabola, which is always going to be at your h. So if you notice, you're using k to answer letter C, and you're using h in your answer for letter D. And that's going to be consistent. That's never changing. Number 5, we will go right 5 up 2. So my vertex would be 5, 2. And because this is a positive 3, it's a smiley face. Smileys are minimums. And the lowest it goes is 2. And your axis of symmetry starts with x equals, and that would be your h value, which is 5. And that one's done. So what I'll do is I'll help you with the vertex for 6, 7, and 8, but I would like you to get parts B through D on your own and to see if you got the hang of it from there. All right, so we don't go sideways for this at all. We just go up 4. So for my first answer, I don't go sideways at all. That's 0, but I do go up 4. That puts me at 0, 4. Now 7, you don't go sideways at all, and there's nothing on the end, so you don't go up or down at all. There is no shifting at all in this problem. So your vertex is going to be at 0, 0. Same thing here. There's nothing in parentheses, and there's nothing on the end, so there is no shifting in this problem. It's just 0, 0. So go ahead and try B through D, pause the video, and then when you unpause, the answers will be up, and then you can see if you have the hang of it or not. Okay, go ahead and take a look. These should be minimum, maximum, minimum. We should have 4, 0, and 0, and then x equals 0 for all 3 axis of symmetries. Now in our next lesson video, we need to do a little bit of review. From Algebra 1, we need to revisit how to FOIL polynomial expressions. So that's what we'll do next time.